Hello, Awesome Soul here, and welcome back to another drone video. The setup for this video will be much like the last one, although this time, the trailer itself actually shows off a few new things that we haven't really seen before. And still on top of that, we do also have some comments from the actual developers in the comment section of the video. Obviously answering questions that other people had, so I will read those out, as most people probably missed those. And then at the end of the video, I will go ahead and discuss what we can expect to see next out of D.R.O.N.E. So, first things first, starting off with the actual video portion, very early on in the trailer, we get this.
Replication unit launched.
As you can hear there, what I assume is an AI of sorts is telling us that the build replication unit has been launched. What exactly does this mean? Well, a little later in the video, we have the AI back again, this time telling us that the drone replicator unit has landed as the drone operator, which is your character, takes a seat in what is, I assume, to be the drone controlling unit. It certainly seems like they are piloting the drone from there, so presumably with the menu system, I guess for lack of a better term, that D.R.O.N.E is going to be using, you will actually maneuver your character to the seat if you want to actually pilot your drone, aka start the match. But here, I'll let you take a listen to the whole clip.
Drone replicator landed. Arena build completed. FPV unit ready.
So yes, as you heard, it said drone replicator unit has landed, then followed by arena build complete, obviously referring to the fact that you can build your own arenas. Although that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense if it's going to be an actual in-game thing. I think this little AI readout, I guess we can say, is probably just for the trailer to sort of show off the amount of things you can do. And the other part is FPV unit ready. I'm not entirely sure what that means, although it's probably on their website somewhere, but their website at this point does actually contain quite a bit of information on the game's lore, etc, etc, so I'd need to take another deep dive into there if I wanted to see it. What I'm thinking it could also be is perhaps the, and this is just me taking a complete shot in the dark here, field personal view unit. That would be the chair you're sitting in. Basically, it's sort of like a hologram allowing you to see what the drone sees. I mean, that's my best guess at what that acronym could mean. But hey, if you have a different idea of what this could possibly mean, let me know down below. I'm very curious. Now, these next two aren't exactly new things, but for those who are new to the channel and new to D.R.O.N.E, sort of at the midway-ish point in the video, we get the AI companion back again saying,
Warning, dynamic arena. Condition change.
Again, if you couldn't quite make that out, they were saying, warning, dynamic area condition change, obviously referring to the fact that maps can change over time. Presumably, though, you can have static maps, but if you want to have dynamic maps, you can also do that as well. It would just be a setting you could probably turn on and off. That would make sense to me, anyway. And coming close to the end-ish of the trailer, we have something that most people probably aren't aware of, unless you watched another one of my D.R.O.N.E videos at a very specific point in that video, and that is the fact that lasers can indeed bounce off surfaces. Now, as a little reminder here, what you're seeing is not entirely complete. So obviously they have the parts and therefore the models of the D.R.O.N.E complete. They have the replay system, so think of Overwatch's replay system, and they're using this replay system. I believe they're calling it Ghost Replay System, something like that. I can't quite remember off the top of my head, forgive me. But they're using that replay system to record each of the drones individually and then layer them on top of each other to form a big huge multiplayer battle. Because they have the single player working for D.R.O.N. building. You can actually fly your drone around in the build mode, but they don't have a working multiplayer at the moment. But yes, that aside, the lasers are planned, obviously, not entirely sure how far along in development the actual weapons are, but the lasers, as you can see here, are definitely planned to have a bouncing feature, which is good and bad. So you're going to be needing to be very, very careful when you're using it, but if you use it properly, it can be used to devastating effect. So that kind of feature right there is something I'm looking very forward to. The weapons they have planned, or at least I've been told about that they have planned, are seeming to be very, very, very unique. And there's going to be a large array of very sort of off-the-wall weapons. There are like energy weapons, like ones that shoot electric beams and that sort of stuff, but they don't work very well underwater. Presumably the lasers won't work quite as effectively underwater as well. Anyways, that will go ahead and do it for the trailer portion, but there are still the comments from the developers. Obviously though, if you would like to watch the trailer for yourself with the audio at full blast, link is in the description for you. So, our first comment has somebody asking, will there be a mega drone in this game? Basically referring to the drone at the end of the video, presumably. And the official account responds with, the big drone in the end of the video. This size will be in the game. Yes. So it's really just the fan community that's referring to it as mega drones. We don't have an official name as to whether or not it will actually be called mega drone, or is this just the size you can build to, but there's going to be some sort of drawback. I know they have a lot of sort of very interesting balance systems. They have a noise system. They also have heat systems, etc., etc. So what I can envision if you try and build something this big, it's going to be very noisy and it's going to be very inefficient at venting heat because you've got huge amounts of armor to actually penetrate this heat through and in order to get it out of the drone. And a hot drone is generally a very bad drone, especially if you're in a hot environment. So building this big, you're probably going to have to make a lot of sacrifices. Or if you also want to build this big, you're probably going to have to install a crap ton of coolant units, which would probably take away from your armor, for example. So then you would have a lot of firepower, but not a whole lot of armor. Again, this is really just speculation on my part. We don't have any confirmation on how the balance as far as size differences goes for drones. Onward to the next comment, and they have to say, hey, people over at 5 Studios, I'm not sure if you know this, but Steam Greenlight is being removed and replaced with a new system. Also, when it comes to hackers and exploiters, how do you plan to deal with them? Which is always a very good question. They respond with, yes, we know about Steam Direct, which is obviously the Steam Greenlight replacement. As for cheating / hackers, etc., we will try to make it very hard to do this. So that's definitely a good sign. It's going to be a priority for them, I would assume so, because I kind of have the feeling they're trying to take this in a very competitive way. Whether or not they pull that off and go into like an esports thing, I'm not quite sure, but we'll see. Fingers crossed. I mean, it would be pretty cool. But I mean, the game itself, lore-wise, is based off of what kind of is an esport, almost, because you're in a chair, swiveling around, staring at a hologram screen, which is the view of your drone, and then piloting your drone. So, kind of like a futuristic esport, but it's also real, kind of. Kind of a weird description there, but yeah, I think it kind of fits. Anyways, kind of got off on a little tangent there, but continuing on, the idea we have in mind is that we would detect it first, warn the player, and then if they continue to hack, cheat, exploit, etc., etc., we would then ban them. So I honestly don't mind that kind of system. Basically gives players a second chance. Because, you know, there are a lot of younger kids out there who don't really understand the ramifications of their actions when it comes to poor sportsmanship in video games, for lack of a better term. Or rather just hacking and cheating. I guess that's a better description of it. But yeah, they're young. Hopefully they'll react really well if they actually get a warning, and they'll change their ways, perhaps. Next up, somebody comments, awesome video, but when will we get to see more of the gameplay? Ground drones, different flying drone designs, etc. Someone else responds to this comment by saying, I think they're still working on those. And then finally, the official account chimes in with, yes, we would love to show more gameplay, but we're working on it. We will have more info about the development soon when we start the devlog when our subreddit goes live next week. And also next week, or coming up very soon depending on what time you're watching the video, there will be a live stream hosted on their Twitch channel. But for more information about that, stay tuned on their website and you will find a countdown timer for that. I've also been informed that they will repost the upload on their Twitch channel as well as their YouTube channel. So hopefully, fingers crossed, they actually do that. Because I know for me personally, I'm not sure if I will actually be able to make the live stream. Fingers crossed I do though. And now, finally, we come to a rather interesting one. You know, I love the whole making everything your own aspect of the game, but I'm wondering if we are going to get the chance to actually customize our drone operator as well. The drone operator obviously being yourself, the character you actually play, who is then in turn playing the character of the drone. So you're kind of playing a character within a character once you're actually in a match. And the response to this is a rather simple one. They respond by simply saying, "It is one of our stretch goals." This is obviously referring to the Kickstarter campaign that they're probably going to be starting up sometime soon. Hopefully that will be detailed in the devlog that they talked about in the last comment. So yeah, if they get enough support, then we will be able to customize our own characters, as well as our drones and our arenas too. There's also been talks of customizing your spaceship, namely upgrading the size of it, and possibly a few other features, but that's not set in stone. That seems more of like a would-be-nice kind of feature. So I wouldn't be surprised if that also ended up as a stretch goal too. Anyways, with all that said, I of course have been the Awesome Soul, and that will wrap up the video. Let me know in the comment section down below all of your thoughts and opinions on what exactly went on in this video. Have a good day, I'll see you next time. Take care.